I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Board of Leavenworth County Commissioners. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the record, all three commissioners are present. We'd like to start with a moment of silence. I'd like to open the meeting with public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, please come forward, state your name and address.
Actually, I'd like to have, after we do that, Kate Smith singing "God Bless America."
I'd like to have you sing it.
I'll vote nay.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, well,
Okay.
I don't know how we can do that, but
She's passed on.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, but that's why I figured maybe you could be the backup.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that would be great. That would be patriotic. But do we have any administrative business this time, Mr. Lawfrey?
I just like to remind everybody that it's a short week this week. The courthouse will be closed on Thursday and Friday in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. I know everybody attended. I think we had a lot of meetings last week. Kansas Association of Counties, Kansas Association of City Managers, and the County Councilors Association meetings. And my understanding is that all those were well attended, and they were all here in the metro area. So that's
Yep.
good for us.
Yep.
I don't have anything else.
They were all well attended, that's for sure. People will drive from the southwest corner of Kansas all the way up here to Johnson County to go to a meeting. Almost think they would have it a little more centrally located. But
I know for the Association of City Managers, they rotate. They try to rotate where it's backed out in the western part of the state one year and then out here the next. And there were Dodge City, Garden City. I think there was even somebody from Holcomb there at that meeting, which is, you can't get any further west than be in Kansas. So
yeah.
That's pretty interesting. But they like to come out here and see what the community, the metropolitan area, has to offer. So it's interesting in the attendance levels.
And it's kind of interesting. It's even these smaller counties. They just talk about economic development. I mean, it's something that's on everybody's mind. You know, because they don't have a large tax base, and you know they need to encourage what they can.
Well, and then we have the tax lid.
That did come up quite a bit, Commissioner. The KAC, the commissioners all voted to support and repeal that, and home rule, local control. Because, like I said, the other counties are affected by that tax lid a lot more than we are. Because, like I said, we're still a growing county. Our property values are increasing.
That helps.
That helps. But if it ever went the other way, it might be a concern.
Yeah, I think there are fewer than 10% of the Kansas counties that are experiencing growth.
Yeah,
The
we're
rest
very
are all
fortunate to
dealing
work
with-
what we have right now.
Yeah.
And we could always think it could be better, but we're real fortunate. But, so you have no other administrative business this time? Okay, we have any presentations at this time for the first session? We're having two sessions today. Have any?
Yes. Got a letter or email from Becky. Came from Janice Van Perst, treasurer, from a Mr. Taylor. I just wanted to recognize that we did get that letter.
Oh, yes.
I got a copy also.
Yes, I did too. I'm not sure what his location is. There's two that name lives on state highways. One lives on K-32, one lives on 24, so I'm not sure which one it was.
Which one he is.
And I'm not sure what business was denied, what SUP was denied, and I don't know how many years ago that would have been.
Yeah.
If you don't recall it,
I
it's-
don't.
and,
But I thought the reply was a good reply.
mhm.
His questions, they're good questions from the uninformed public, and it's hard to inform the public. There's just no way to totally inform the public, I hate to say it.
These are available, Commissioner.
Those are available?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, yeah.
That
Yeah.
explains it.
Yeah, but, no, that doesn't explain, no, not mill levies and all that.
But
It just doesn't.
Well, it breaks it down.
I kind of wonder, though, that if the average citizen that's not involved in
Yeah.
county government would understand that.
No.
I mean, I'm not saying that they're
Right.
dumb or anything. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that they understand that.
The point I'm getting at, and I know Smith is gone, not Doug Smith, but Kate Smith, but we could bring back Don Aaron when he sat down with that gentleman and explained that gentleman's tax.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was all done, the guy said, "Oh, that explains it. I'm only spending $24 or $25 on my road."
Mm-hmm.
That money goes a heck of a lot of places. But I thought it was interesting on your little dissertation, and I guess we'll get to that when we get to the minutes. These all came out of the paper on 17th and 18th, Leavenworth Times. And I'm not advertising for the Leavenworth Times. Wouldn't advertise for any newspaper. Is working together. You brought up healthcare.
Yes, sir.
Lansing talks about buying salt together with the county and other cities. I don't know what other cities, but that is doing things together. Ms., excuse me, we don't go by Mrs. anymore. We always go by Ms., politically correct.
I don't.
Ms. Wheelchair, Kansas, attends annual lunch. Everybody read that? Anybody know about it? Lady's got 2 legs missing, 1 arm missing from an auto accident.
Mm-hmm.
Vehicles totaled in collision. Fatal crash reported in the county. There's a dissertation on a lot less deer being killed in the past, but now it's back on the increase. And I think it's inattentive is what it is. Got people on cell phones, people combing their hair, people drinking coffee. Now, this guy here is liable to get killed, and it was a picture of a doe already across the highway, and the buck is at the center line. Now, that buck could be dead because he's being inattentive, okay? He's gone brain dead, he's doing other things, and he's not paying attention to what he should be doing. I passed on for the 3 commissioners and David and Mark to read this little article on Mercedes-Benz. The corporate head made a statement, made many statements of what was going to be gone in the next few years. Watson's going to take over. Everybody know who Watson is? That's that big, massive computer.
Mm-hmm.
Lawyers, you better be looking for another job because we won't need lawyers because lawyers have a tendency to be human and they make errors.
I'm going to hold you to that, Louis.
Watson is 90% correct. Watson is out judging nurses because removes the human factor. But he goes on and on many things that are going to be happening in the future. And you mentioned healthcare. I think that's good. We need to be functioning and thinking not outside the box, because there is no box anymore. But I had a lot of people talking to me about roundabouts. Good, bad, and indifferent. But I just mentioned 3 cases if we had had roundabouts. Don't know where the accidents were. things might correct themselves. We might not have so many people out there talking on cell phone, going through intersections, costing us an ambulance $156,000. Don't know what that individual's problem was, but as I say, I had many conversations on roundabouts, and it's nice to hear people concerned with roundabouts. I came up with another thought: consolidation of dispatch. You got 2 dispatchers right across the street. One in one room, one in the same room. 2 of them right there in the same room. Why don't we consolidate? I've mentioned a whole bunch of things: roundabouts, police, fire, water, sewer. We just can't keep gliding along, not using the most valuable thing that the deity gave us, and that's a brain. And we're finding out the brain can't compete with Watson now. So I would like to see dispatch added to that equation. And I'm sure somewhere in all those things that I've mentioned, fire was one, where this teething thing doesn't take place. I would like to make this the year of the taxpayer. Does anybody not understand the taxpayer? We've got all this. We didn't knock off the full mill. We knocked off a half mill or a quarter of a mill.
Quarter.
And I think it's time to have a year of the taxpayer, and we come up with some ways of saving money for the taxpayer. Very important. So,
And what day did you want to do that work session
well,
to go over that? In January? You want to do it in January?
I would like to make a comment on.
Yes, Bob.
On the dispatch.
right.
Several years ago, we brought that up. I think Janet's shaking her head yes. So we brought that up and we discussed it. I think we had a work session on it. And you've got to get the city of Leavenworth and Leavenworth County together. And you got to get the sheriff and we've got to get the police chief on board to decide who's going to be in charge, who's not going to be in charge, who's going to be paying what. There's a lot that goes into that, and I don't know why, but it went away.
Well, it always goes away
Yeah.
because somebody's not willing to sit down and remove the teething.
I'm just wanting to reference that it was already brought up, and we have discussed it.
Yeah, we talked about consolidation in 1978 when I was on the commission because they had done it in Riley County. I mean, and I heard one of the deities, yeah, we'll call them deities, police chief and the sheriff. Well, I don't mind if he wants to work for me, that's fine. Well, to me, that would be what the committee decides. Now, to get a committee to be able to make those decisions, everybody wants to go through life ending up being loved and liked, and they don't want to have to make hard decisions, and that's what it is, hard decision. Well, it's going to be under the sheriff, or it's going to be under the police chief. Somebody would say, well, it's closer to the courthouse. Well, okay, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but surely 6, 7, 8 people sitting down of intelligence and level of thought process can make a decision that, yeah, this is what it costs to run the dispatch for the police. This is what it costs to run the dispatch for the sheriff. And if we coordinate that, then there should be some kind of a savings. Not everybody's going after 9/11 funds. And, I don't know what's in 9/11 funds today, but I'm sure it's a pretty good hunk of money. And then all of a sudden somebody says we're going to change all the radios. You got to go to the quarter mill. You can't have a half a degree change. You got to have a quarter degree and then an eighth degree because you got everybody on the line. See?
But
So,
we're already upgraded right now.
yeah, I know that.
And
So there
we're-
must be some money that could be used to, and we need to start looking at saving money. Does that interest anybody out there? Is there anybody out there that doesn't want to save money?
I think we're all on the same
You see
page
no
here.
hands. So everybody's in favor of that. So if we make a decision to save money, at least these people are going to be happy.
Okay.
They may not get the road for some reason. Well, now, we know 180 seconds going in. Don't get upset. Okay, we're going to get that one done. But somewhere we have to start saving money. $312,000 for 2 new ambulances. I think that is money. Maybe it didn't. But I would like to see us be able to have this the year of the taxpayer. And if we can't have it the year of the taxpayer, then the taxpayer is going to suffer again. But I think this commission will do something for the taxpayer of efficiency and save some money, so.
Well, Commissioner, I would support your theme of 2018 being the year of the taxpayer, and I would definitely support your recommendation on getting a work session together in early 18 in January to
Okay.
study what we can combine and consolidate together to save the taxpayer money.
Okay,
And I would rather not be a regular meeting day. I'd rather devote a day to that.
I don't have any problem. I have no problems with that.
And as long, if we could get our schedules together and do that.
Sounds good to
So-
me.
Consider that. That's what we're going to
Sounds good.
do. We got a consensus here? All right, sounds good. Are you complete? Okay. Mine would be, I think that this board or the county here needs to send former Commissioner Bigsby a letter demanding that he return personnel files and any other county documents that he stole from Leavenworth County, that they be returned.
Second that. Is that a motion?
I don't know that it would be called stolen.
Okay?
It was given to
The
me.
documents that he's got from the county that do not belong to him. Personnel files do not belong to him.
I'll second that for discussion.
All right, I got a motion and a second discussion.
Go ahead, Bob.
I just wanted to make sure that we reference this in legal terms. We can't say that he stole them when they were actually given to him.
Yeah, he corrected that, though.
I corrected that. Documents that do not belong to him, they belong to the county.
David, do we have the authority to do that?
Well,
He's a
Commissioners,
private citizen.
The county certainly has the right to demand the return of any county property that's not property held. I'm not certain what your question may be, Commissioner.
Well, I guess my question would be, what's going to keep him, and I'm not just pointing him out, but what is going to keep him from making a copy and sending you a copy back?
Well, I think more what I'm after is liability of this board, that we know he has county documents, we know he's put them on the 6 o'clock news, and we're doing nothing about it. How many other employees' folders does he have out there that's going to pop up on the 6 o'clock news? How many employees here have had their identity stolen recently, within the last 2 years? I think that's something we need to find out. To survey all the employees, have you had your identity stolen? I know I have.
I have.
I don't know. Does anybody want my identity? Anybody want to be called Louis Clint? Say, raise their hands.
I don't think they're going to get, anybody's
Okay.
going to raise their hand.
Call that one.
Okay. Some of us aren't as fortunate as you, Mr. Clem. David, yes.
Mr. Chairman, members of this commission, it might be appropriate I could visit with the county attorney and/or the sheriff and ask that they issue a letter to Commissioner Bixby, more or less requesting, i.e. demand, the return of any county property currently held in his possession, to include any county records.
Okay. So we have a motion and second, and we're going
And David will take care of the,
to, okay?
Well, I'd rather hear back from David first before we.
Well, You know I have a problem with
I know,
lawyers.
I know you do. So
I'd rather have it
motion and second it.
I'd rather have it in layman's conversation, but I'll upgrade it or downgrade it into legalese. I'd rather have, so the people can understand what we're trying to do. We've got somebody out there that has the wrong information, the right information at the wrong time. He shouldn't have taken it with him, and we're trying to correct that problem. So they're going to come up with a letter after he talks to the sheriff, and that'll probably take 6 weeks to a month, or to 2 months. So I don't have any problems with going that direction and letting the county
Well,
council.
and who's to say he even still has it?
Well, that's true, but at least he should respond to the letter. If he doesn't, I'm not going to quote anybody today. So,
Well, I just think that if we know he has these documents and we're doing nothing to get them back, and who knows what news station's going to air it next, and who knows who else's file he has.
that's right.
Being our HR department allowed any commissioner to go in there and get in anybody's file.
No, that's not true. They wouldn't allow me to get into my file.
Well, they changed their internal policy after they found out it was wrong.
Well, if they found out I wanted it, so that's beside the point.
Okay.
I'll call for the,
All right, we got a motion and a second, voting?
aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Klemp, in response to your comment, I'll endeavor to have that letter sent out before the end of this week.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I will be engaged in trial tomorrow. I should be able to converse with the sheriff or county attorney either today or Wednesday.
Very
Okay.
good.
Well, while we're on the year of the taxpayer, you'd made a comment about, it's been a while back, I believe it was when Lansing was here, and you gave a whole blanket statement, the government as a whole is corruption. All right. I thought about that, and I think maybe it's time that maybe we have, I'm not making a motion today, I just want y'all to think about it. You know, we still have a township board member who wrote a check to pave the road by his house without his board's approval, and nothing happened to him. The check never got cashed. It just said, you know, this is not right. He's still on the board. We've got a contractor that's stole about almost $40,000 from the county by getting paid to do a job he never did, and he still works for the county off and on. That needs to be brought out to the taxpayer.
Well, it's for my time, but if anybody can get me updated, I would be glad to listen to that. And, you know, there shouldn't be any of that. Not in Leavenworth County. This has to be a wholesome county. You want to do that in your own life, in your own business, that's fine. But the county should not have any problems at all. Everybody knows right from wrong. Can you afford to do it? Now, if you don't, come to me and I'll get you in touch with my 12-year-old granddaughter, and she knows right or wrong. Can you afford to do it? It's a simple matter, and you shouldn't, if you're playing with county funds, that's just like, you know, credit cards. I hear there's credit cards that people take on trips. I would not want to take a county credit card on a trip. Now, in the military, we had the ability to draw funds. I don't know if that can be made available, and you had to submit your chits at the end of showing what you purchased, when you purchased it, and you returned what funds you thought that you didn't use. So there's a lot of ways of handling these problems. So I think I've already thought about it, so whenever you want to bring it up in a
Well,
form.
and I'm not blaming the department heads that are hiring this contractor, because they didn't know.
But they know now, they ought to be up here saying, you know, we got to get this solved.
I've talked to Mr. Lawfrey about it,
Good.
so.
Mr. Lawfrey is now running the county, so he's going to get that resolved.
He is, but I think it's,
Yeah.
you said it's a year, we're going to say 18 is the year of the taxpayer. They need to know what happened in the past,
That is true,
so.
and why we do what we do. And we got a man that runs the county now.
That's right. So, that's all I have. Commissioner Holland, you have anything? Consent agenda. You had a chance to look at everything on the consent agenda?
I had a couple questions on the first meeting, Commissioner. Oh, no, that was about the consolidation of the health insurance. I want to bring that up again. Nothing on that. Are you going, you doing also the minutes for the,
We'll do both sessions, yes,
Okay.
sir.
the recycling bins? I hear we have the third one. Do we need to remove that motion to, or are we still going to, at the end of the contract, close that down?
That was a motion, a second, so when the contract comes to an end, we'll,
Deal with
right
it.
now, the intent is that we'll cancel that, as the motion, the second led to, but we'll,
Then the 7 months that the contract's still going to run, we can look at other options,
yes.
possibly some participation of the city of Tongi.
Yeah.
That was the agreement, was that we were in, before the 7 month was up.
Right.
But I will say Wednesday morning, it seemed to be a traffic jam getting into the recycle bins. There was cars backed out on Lamming Road.
Well,
So it is getting used.
maybe we need to put a roundabout in there.
We need to put a roundabout in there.
It'll probably get even more usage now as the holidays come up, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's when
I
all the
forgot
boxes
to,
and trash.
I forgot to turn in my homework. This is what they just sent me the website, or the people to contact and some websites to go to, Mid-America Regional Council.
Okay.
I did not print off everything there because I just figured each commissioner could look it up on their computer. But I'm still trying to find out where the one is in Leavenworth. Is there one in Leavenworth?
Roundabout?
Yeah.
Well, somebody said there's.
Is it in a subdivision
In
maybe?
that subdivision.
Okay, all right. Well, I wasn't aware of that.
It's
There's one in Baser going into a subdivision, but I wasn't aware of anything in Leavenworth. But that's what they gave me, and that's plenty to look up on it. And then,
Of course, you guys have read everything that I handed you, right?
I did.
Very good.
I did not read all of it.
Well, there's going to be a test question on it.
Well, just let me know when the pop quiz is going to be. But I've been, over the years in Public Works, been around a little bit around about information.
The other
But you had another question on the consent agenda
No.
items?
Oh, yeah, on the, and it's just a general question.
Okay.
As I go down, starting with page 1, what are all the
Which-
thank yous? Thank you, thank you, thank you.
What are you on page 1 of?
The check register.
Oh, okay. All right.
it's like,
What are all these check, thank yous? Can you help
I
me?
think it's just a notation that's made on the check.
Okay.
how come they all,
Nothing more than,
how come
you
they
know,
all
when
say
we-
Louis Klemp on it?
Yeah.
When, for instance, when we send out to the election workers, we just make a notation, thank you for your
Oh,
service.
okay.
And
There's nothing wrong with that. I think, you know, you better be sending a lot of these thank yous to these volunteers, because they're going to get far and few. But if you read what the Mercedes-Benz guy said, voting's going to change. There's going to be a lot of changes in a lot of things. You won't even have to have insurance on your car, because you won't have a car. Car's going to be done away with. Do you know who the biggest car rental place in the world, United States is today? They don't own one car.
Uber? or-
Uber. yeah.
Uber.
And the biggest hotel, and they don't own any hotels. There was one other question on the finances. Maintenance call-outs, and I don't know what sheet, it doesn't have a number on it. It said maintenance call-outs for tow. There was 2,700, 1,500, 3, 5, and I know cheaps are not cheaps. Tows are not cheap when you get into big vehicles.
I don't think that's tow, I think it's tower. I think that's part of our
Tower.
replacement project.
Okay, okay. That makes a
That
difference.
makes a difference.
TOWE, you know. I guess tow would be TOW. Tower, okay, I can visualize that. Restitution. Warrant total restitution $9,030. What is restitution for? Oh, that's on about the third from the back page. Oh, no, it's about the fifth from the back. And right below it is noxious weed.
The restitution comes over from the district court office that we pay. It goes out to individuals that have paid restitution through the courts,
Okay,
and that's where that comes from.
very good. You answered my questions. I don't have any other questions. We got any OCBs?
Well, that's, that would be under the consent. Yeah, I got 51.
51?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have any question on the consent agenda?
So I move we approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve,
Yep.
okay? Or did you move to?
Go ahead, I'll second.
Okay, move to approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Voting?
Aye.
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 Okay. Are we ready for the county clerk?
I have two items that I would like to bring up today. The first one is looking at the audit services for the county. I did supply Commissioner Holland with the two different proposals because he asked for those. We had two proposals, Mize, Hauser and Company, and Burbridge and Trahan, that did submit proposals for the audit services for 2017, 18, and 19, with options to extend it to additional years. The administrator and I did review both of these proposals, and we would like the recommendation to go with Mize, Hauser, and Company. The cost was included. The first year in 2017, we did have a cost of $32,950, and if we require a single audit, it's an additional $2,000. This was at a better cost to the county compared to the other proposal that we received.
Commissioner Holland, you have any questions? I know you wanted to
do.
look it over a little more.
I did. My concern was that this is kind of a small audit firm, and we are the sixth largest county in the state. I just thought that, are you sure that you looked this over very closely, and are they able to do the audit? And this is an audit.
Yes,
Is that
it's a
correct?
full audit, the same as the county is required to
Okay, I
have.
want to read a little blurb in here. It says, "These non-audit services."
Yeah, they have other services that they can provide that are not
So-
related to the
So
audit.
their non-audit services do not constitute an audit under government auditing standards.
Right, other services that they would provide outside of the audit scope is what they're referring
Well,
to.
I wanted that explained a little
Yeah.
closer there.
Yeah, there- so
Because
there-
I did go over all this stuff, and
Yeah, they are not, I know they may not be as small as what you think they are. They're a fairly large corporation,
Well,
actually.
and the reason
they audit several entities that are much larger than Leavenworth County.
And I'm not trying to downgrade our neighbors, but Janet referenced that one of their.
One of the neighboring counties that they-
Jefferson County
right.
was one of their clients. Well, Jefferson County is definitely not close to the sixth largest county in the state. And I just want to make sure that
think that-
we're not just looking at dollars.
No, the
but we're
proposal
looking
that
at
that they
quality
submitted also listed a lot of their clients, and I think you have a copy of the proposal, Commissioner, and in there, they list a lot of their clients, and like I mentioned, several of them are larger than us. They're well qualified. I'm confident that they can do the job.
What were the two different prices?
I think the other one was in the 40,000, 42, 43,000.
46,000,
How much?
46,000.
46, and Mize was
32,500,
32.
I believe.
and
32,950.
950, that's right. 40, And 46 was by,
Burbridge and Trahan.
and it
Bob-
really out of,
Bob, do you have that proposal right
That's
there
who
in front of
currently
you?
does the audit for
Say
the
again?
county. That's who currently does the audit for the county, Burbridge and
oh,
Trahan.
okay. Well, I'm just sort of curious, you know.
Burbridge and Trahan, yeah.
It wasn't somebody local, and then if it's somebody local, it has to fall in within a certain percentage.
5%, yes.
Yeah, so that's the only way you can keep everybody in the system thinking in the same area. If not, if you just go with local people, and this was not local, so that's all right. And they didn't fall in the ballpark, so are you needing a motion to, unless there's some more discussion?
Yes, we are needing a motion.
I'll move to approve the contract for auditing for what?
Mize, Hauser and Company.
How many years?
This is for 3 years with the option for an additional 2.
Okay, is that all you need in the motion?
Yes.
Okay,
I don't mind the 3 years. I don't like the additional 2. That gives basically a 5-year contract. I think we need to change it up a little bit. We don't need to continue on and on and on and on with the same company.
Those are optional years.
I know
So-
they're
optional.
optional
And
years.
I think the last contract had the same language in it, and after 3 years, we brought it forward for the.
now we don't have
I
to
didn't
approve
We
it.
don't have to approve it.
You wouldn't have to approve it at that time.
It's just an
Exactly.
option.
Needless to say, we will bring it back to the county at the end of the 3 years.
And you
To
will
the
review,
board.
you'll review it each year when we bring the
And I'm sure,
budget forward too.
I'm sure if you have any concerns, you'll bring it back before the 3 years.
Yep,
Yes.
yep. Don't look at me when you're talking about 3 years.
I'm looking, you know.
3 years. Okay,
So we got a motion, we have a second?
yep.
Who's
We had a
second?
Oh,
motion.
no
No
second.
second yet.
Okay,
I'll second.
All right, voting?
aye.
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 My second request today is our banking proposal with, currently, we are with Commerce Bank. I do have 2 representatives here, Brian Habian will probably do the speaking for Commerce, and Bill Petrie. In January 2014, I believe it was, we did proposals for all of our banking services. Commerce was the only one that bid at that time. There was a clause in the current contract to extend it for a period of 4 years, and that is what I'm up here for, to look at extending it for a period of 4 years. I have spoke with Brian. Everything will remain at the same. There may be an increase in ACHs, something like that. It is very costly for the county to change banks. We are satisfied with Commerce Bank. But if we do change, we would have to look at, of course, the additional charge of checks. We would still have to keep the Commerce Bank accounts open due to checks that are currently out there that have not cleared the bank. Each year, Commerce comes forward and we have meetings with them. They've been very open to any suggestions that the county has that we would like to see. They come forward with different proposals that will help the county through all the banking proposals. We currently run our payroll through Commerce, our general expense, and our our monthly bills. So we have 3 accounts with them. We also have accounts for our sales tax that comes in. So
Do we have any way to place a value on, it's not like a bidding system, or is it you tell them what to, in other words, Commerce is one. Do we know what their theoretical bid is, and who is the other one?
There was no bid.
we have I'm asking to extend this contract with
You're
Commerce.
just asking for the extended,
That is correct.
and there was no other bid last time.
That's
It
correct.
wasn't put out for bid.
Well,
Okay.
4 years ago it was.
Yeah, 4 years ago.
Right, but I think he's thinking of now.
No.
Yeah.
No,
No,
there was
we're
no
just
bid.
asking to
We can't be
extend the proposal.
vindictive if we don't like somebody in Commerce?
No.
Okay. I don't.
Certainly, you can ask Brian or Bill any questions that
I don't
you
have any questions.
I don't either. So everything's been going good. It's a
When's
local.
the CD rate going up?
Yeah.
uh,
So, and you're happy, the clerk is happy,
The clerk is
the
happy.
administrator is happy, who's running the county?
Yeah, I'm very happy with their services.
Very-
Banking's one of those services that, as long as they're providing a good service, which they are, and it's not exorbitant in pricing, which it's
Yeah.
not, it makes sense to maintain because changing is very complicated.
The 70s were good, because interest was 20%, 21%, you go out for bids.
Yeah.
Made money in those days. I'll move that we extend the contract with Commerce Bank for 4 years for,
There really isn't a cost.
Just for banking
that,
services.
It's
Banking
just
services.
banking services.
There you go.
Yes.
that's my motion.
For seconding it, can we, being it's going to be a 4-year period, and we're going to have a change of commissioners, can we,
do a 2-year and 2-year
Right.
renewal.
Well, I'm certain that's probably an option.
Actually, I think the language allows for us to terminate at any point if we needed to. So if the new commission came on and wasn't happy with the services or the cost for some reason, that there is language in the contract that would allow us to terminate at any point without a penalty as long as we gave adequate notice.
I'm just wanting to cover all the bases.
Understood.
I'm not against this at all. I think they run a fine bank, a fine institution out there. I know both of them, and so I'll second it. If we can do it that way.
Okay. Voting?
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I feel good we didn't ask him to talk.
Thank you,
Yep.
gentlemen.
See you.
Okay, so are we ready to adjourn first session?
Yes.
Okay, I move we adjourn the first session.
Second, voting?
Aye.
Aye. All right, then I'll call the order, or meeting to order of the second session of the Board of Leavenworth County Commissioners, and we have planning and zoning.
Do they need to, since it's a health thing, do they need to adjourn?
We have to go into Board of Health.
Oh,
Yes.
well, then we're going to.
Board of Health.
So we need a motion to go into the Board of.
Motion to go into the Board of Health as stated.
Second.
Voting?
Aye.
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 All right, now we are now the Board of Health.
Morning, Chairman,
Good morning.
Commissioners. This is case number VIO-15-016 for 2210 Ottawa Street in Leavenworth, Kansas, for storage of trash, junk, and dumping on the property, which is a violation of Resolution 2009-27. And also the case number, the CR case right after that, is they are getting ready to go to Codes Court, and for us to be able to proceed with Codes Court, it has to be declared a nuisance by the Board of Health, okay? We have visited this property approximately, actually, over 15 times, have sent the property owner, I digress, the occupant of the property. The property owner is deceased, so there are people who are occupying the property, and we do not know the status of them being there as executors or whatever that may be. And so we are trying to get them to clean the property up because it it continues on and continues on and continues on. And there's not a lot we can do about it if we don't go to codes court.
And this has been going on for years.
Have I been out there with you?
Not on this one.
Not on this one,
I-
okay.
Public Works has been out there, I think. I
Public
went out
Works.
there maybe three
Thank you.
years ago.
Yeah, Public Works has been out
Because
there.
I think, is this the one that the drainage, the
please.
pipe was being plugged up or something? Yeah. And it is just outside of the city limits.
Correct.
It's
And-
just,
Yeah.
you
and
would
we
think
have-
you're in the city limits, but you're
When you said
not.
Ottawa Street, I thought,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Just since August, I would say 95% of all the neighbors out there have called me to complain about it. So it has really, within the past 4 months, completely just fell apart.
Now, has the city made a formal complaint on behalf of the city residents that are complaining about this?
We have not, there is only one neighbor that is in the city,
Uh-huh.
and we have not received, that's the one we have not actually received a complaint from, but
Well, I
everybody
just
in the
figured when
county.
people drive by, they're gonna think it's in the city anyways.
Correct.
Maybe the neighbor thinks that because it's in the county, he can't do anything
Yeah.
about it.
Well, even if that was way out in the county, you'd
Yeah.
still be having this meeting.
Right, that's
So-
right.
I would hope, yes.
It's still in the county, so we have to have a meeting.
So, what do you need from this board then?
We are asking for a declaration of a nuisance for that specific parcel so that we can take it to codes court and actually by the prerequisites that we need for this resolution, it states that it needs a declaration of a nuisance from the Board of Health.
So moved.
In other words, that's that, excuse me, Bob, I'll second for discussion. Action requested, that's the declaring the property located at 2210 Ottawa Street, Leavenworth, Kansas, parcel number in violation of Resolution 2009-27, which I don't know what that says, 2017 CR 705. That means what? We're asking for the, declaring the property
A nuisance,
a nuisance, okay?
correct.
So
Got a motion in a second? Voting.
Aye.
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 Now, this won't fall back on Public Works to have to clean this up if the owner refuses, will it?
Mr. Chairman, members of this commission, I'm familiar with this property. In fact, we have that on Wednesday morning.
Correct.
It's already been scheduled to go to court Wednesday morning. I'm very familiar with this property. Commissioner Smith, as you're referencing another property on Ottawa Street that years ago, the county did actually enter the property, removed a significant amount of trash and debris, and put a lien on the property. Subsequently, the Kansas Supreme Court found that our powers under your general powers do not allow you to assess costs for a cleanup on a property. You can enter upon the property, you can remove the nuisance property, but you're not allowed to put a lien on the property for that. Subsequent to that, we haven't utilized that procedure. In my time, it's been a very rare procedure. The vast majority of people do take care of their properties. This is a particular property or a problem property, and that's why it's going to court this Wednesday morning at 9. The powers that we have are to assess fines,
That's what I was-
make fine up to $250 a day.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah. You can also ask that the court find the owner in contempt of court and can be confined. Now, that's a very, I would say, extreme remedy, but we will avail ourselves to it, and they're scheduled for court this Wednesday morning at 9 a.m.
So the court, the deity up there, the Supreme Court said, you can't put a lien on the property. So if you can't put a lien, you've got other legal maneuvers, and it just goes on and gets worse and worse, and
Actually, Commissioners, I think the ruling by the court was there was not explicit language in the Kansas statutes that authorized us to do that. We are explicitly authorized to impose penalties, to include fines. We are explicitly authorized to, quite frankly, have incarceration as one of your remedies. I visited with Mr. Lawfrey this morning. There are already 2 matters we'd like to bring before the court for suggestion that the Kansas Association of Counties, legal municipalities, and the legislature consider for legislative action this coming session, one of which is dealing with nuisance properties. While cities have a full panoply of remedies available to them, you see that all the time. The city's council is declaring buildings for demolition. They publish notice for that. You don't currently have those authority, or you do not currently have that authority. We'd like the same powers as cities do, and I have appeared before the legislature on past occasions with respect to that. Counties in the West look upon that with some suspicion. They're concerned that their counties might become mirror images of the cities, and that, in their opinion, a lot of people live out in the county for that very purpose, that they are not within a city and don't face all the regulations. I don't think that's really a well thought out proposition, given that you sometimes can't tell when you're in a city or in the county. But in any event, we are cognizant of those limitations, and we'll take action to try to get out from underneath it.
Over the years, Public Works has been involved with cleaning up some of these properties, including railroad right-of-way, and the KDHE paid 75%. Well, Public Works still paid 25%, plus took the guys off the roads, cleaning up trash with dump trucks, loaders, backhoes. I want to see Public Works money spent on the roads, not on railroad right-of-way cleaning up, get 75% of it paid for. They're still out 25%.
If we can identify an avenue that allows us to assess those kind of cleanup fees back to the property owner via legislation or some other avenue, then we would not utilize county staff. That would be something we would contract out with.
That needs to be
Because
contracted
it's-
out.
We're not equipped to handle it necessarily, and plus, like you mentioned, we have other jobs that
Yeah.
we need to be on top of. and-
Well, I'm pretty sure there's some pretty nasty stuff in some of that trash, and I'm pretty sure all the Public Works employees aren't all up to date on all their shots. So, I mean, couldn't get them in here to get flu shots, so I don't know how you're gonna get them in here to get anything else, so. But anyways, no, Public Works got enough to do with the roads. They don't need to be picking up, nuisance properties, cleaning them up. I mean, but I've had to do it over the years.
I move we adjourn from the Board of Health unless there's something else.
All right, second, voting?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Anything else before us on this? As we're in the regular session?
I have nothing else.
Well, let me just share a few things, what I did at the conference. This is what we voted on. Agritourism was a big discussion. I think we've got some properties that we have special use permits on that really fall under agritourism that wouldn't require a special use permit. Mainly old barns that are for wedding events, stuff like that, because that definitely falls under the agritourism. Another thing that was a concern that on property taxes on like big box stores or chain stores, they're not able to assess it at the highest rate, and they have to compare it to a store that's the lowest rate, and that's made it through Board of Tax Appeals so far. So it's going to the next level, so I don't see where it could be a loss of revenue for some cities and counties.
So you're talking about Costco, Walmart?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
Interesting. That's all right.
That's all right, yeah.
Storage box will make up for it, it's no big.
Yeah, the lowest.
Yeah.
it'll be compared-
We'll just charge Louis more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but that'll get to the next business level next. After that clears the huge chains, and it'll get to the small
Yep.
mom and pop
Could have
businesses next.
started at the bottom first, so to
Mhm.
say.
Yep.
Okay.
And then that's what we voted on. I'm sure.
I'm glad to see the tax lid at the fairly top,
Mhm.
constitutional home rule.
Home rule, yeah. And like I said, other counties are affected a lot more than we are. You know, when you got some counties that their whole value is like $40 million, and there's a lot more counties out there that are less than 10,000 and are more than 10,000 population. And a lot of counties are losing population. Most counties are. So we were very fortunate to be where we're at.
I think it's very interesting on tax lids. To me, I don't run into too many, and I'll say it again, governmental entities that are really interested in a taxpayer. Some of the things that we do, we can slow down on. We just don't have to go out and pave every road. I know it's nice, but we don't have to pave every road. There's so many things that we need to be looking into that we possibly need to do. But in the last few years, it seems like we're trying to get it all done today. And you just can't get it all done in one day, because I've brought up about 8 different items in January of 2019. I'll be gone. And there won't be one of those things done, because we have to teethe, or what the problem is. I would think 75 to 90% of the people would be in favor of consolidations of some sort, but we know the entities themselves aren't, and we know that the departments within those entities aren't. You know, another thing, a reserve program, you know, I've mentioned that for the police and the sheriff. We don't have a reserve program. Other communities have them. Works fine. But we don't want it. We want full-time employees, full-time fire department. We want full-time everything, because it builds up the entity. If you taxpayers are happy with that, fine. Doesn't matter to me, because I only got 13 half more months, and the amount of living time, we don't know where it's at either. So when I check out, that's a happy time for me. I don't have to be worried about taxpayers that aren't worried about themselves. Somewhere the taxpayer has to be worried about himself and express that opinion, and more people are coming forward expressing opinions, and I like that. But if everybody's just going to sit there and glide along because you don't want your bull gored, to me this isn't about a slaughterhouse. This is about doing things for the taxpayer. I just don't, as I say, my time is short. I'm supposed to live another 22 years, but that won't be involved in government. I got more important things to do, because government is not important, because we've let it go too far. We have swamps at all levels, and we need to correct that. If people aren't willing to correct it, then you live with what you got. So I appreciated the letter, you know, from Mr. Taylor, but you know, to correct each one, everybody's little problem, and when it becomes your problem, it's not little anymore. I don't have any big problems, because I don't let them become big problems. People just, you know, they stay on that, and it becomes a big problem for them. It shouldn't be that way. Somewhere you got to get resolved, and that's what you don't get in government. Government doesn't want resolve, because we're going to do a study on it, and that study will go on for who knows how many months, how many years. So, taxpayer, you got to live with what you got. If you're not willing to correct it, then you're going to have more of it, and then you're going to have more of it. That's why we have a county administrator, and he is running the county. And I like the fact that the county administrator is running the county. Some people out there want 5 county commissioners. Well, you talk about studies. There will be a lot more studies, so a lot more government. So just be happy with all the government you're getting, because you're going to get more if you get 5 county commissioners. So everybody says, well, you can't even get 3. Well, there could be some truth to that. Bob thinks different. Doug thinks different. I think different. We all think we're qualified to be a county commissioner, but
Commissioner Clamp, on your, about paving all the roads, I think that's why the taxpayers passed the sales tax. They wanted to see sales tax money to help improve the road system instead of increasing the mill levy. And I think, yeah, we're not gonna be able to pave all the roads, but we can sure get a whole pile of roads on a list and prioritize and get them ready for when the time comes.
yeah, but Wyandotte County did that, and they're still suffering from it. They went out and paved them all. It's got all the roads paved. Did it pay off? Well, not, those roads didn't pay off. They came back and repaved some roads that paid off. It's called the Legends. But it also was economic development in that money too.
Star bonds.
I don't know what they are, but it said economic development and roads, and what else? I think there were 3 things. Oh, then the 3 projects. So, and we wasted money on the 3 projects, $750,000, haven't done a thing. That was paid on interest.
763.
Huh?
763.
763. See, and the people, they just sit there and say, yeah, that's all right. No, they talk individually, but they better be up here demanding that talk is cheap. That's been said way before I came into the world. Talk is cheap. You either want some economic development, because that's what it said, and I think there's a percentage in there. So, and I think you had a meeting Friday, didn't you, with some people?
The Public Works Departments met and discussed the roundabout.
Discussed roundabouts. Will we get a decision on that at some time?
It's on the agenda for the
City.
next Monday. And
Next
that's-
Monday.
That was the date that was requested last time Public Works was in here.
Okay.
I had requested to, Mark, haven't gotten it, some documentation on the genesis. I wanted to see that list of 50, and how many times, you know, you can say, I've got 50 members,
Right.
and it takes 4 times to go to really do any good. And you got half of these going once a month instead of 2 or 3 times a week, you know, so I'd really like to see a copy of that.
I'll send that to the board.
Yeah, it was good. I saw the list, and there was only one family
Yeah.
that
I'll
I
send
saw
it-
on there that was,
I'll send that to the board
Yeah.
as soon as we get out of this meeting. I'll make sure you get that.
Okay, thank you.
so we'll get a report on it. Because what I'd like to do, and I know Public Works isn't going to like this, you know, whether we pass the roundabouts or not, we need to start moving something out there rather than it's like we're having a study to make this move, a study to make this move, a study. I mean, it's going to
I
be.
think Eisenhower's moving where it's supposed to be, isn't it? Or is that what you're talking about?
That's
The
what I'm
Eisenhower
talking
Road
about.
project? I think it's on track of where it's
Well, but
supposed
it
to be.
depends how you look at the track. I mean, we're, as we go down the line, we're constantly repairing the track. We got another crew coming in to repair the track. And we're in line. How long has it been? 3 years since we passed it?
15.
Sales tax was approved in 2015.
Okay, so it's 2 years coming up on 3.
But the first collections were actually this year. January 1 is the first time the sales tax was actually collected.
Okay, January 1.
Yeah.
But, you know, the industrial park's going to be done, and the road isn't going to be done.
Well,
Now,
you're
you can
correct
say-
there. That is correct.
Yeah. So you can say, I got special interest. No, I don't have special interest. I could have lived my life out with it as a 2-lane. But the money was voted to be
Right.
spent on Eisenhower, McIntyre, and
147.
147th. Now, you
Should've
can
went
rate,
in
you can rate
alphabetical
the
order.
roads, first, second, third, or however how you want to rate them, but I think Eisenhower has as much importance, if not more, than McIntyre. No, and then you can look at where does 147th fall in? And so, are we going to get Eisenhower done in what, 5 years, 10 years? When can we come up with a good schedule that I can look at and get some kind of
Well, we have
satisfaction?
20 years.
I think that schedule was in the quarterly report that the Public Works had given last week.
Yeah.
When they provide a weekly report, it's also in the weekly report.
Okay, if you would redo that,
Yeah, I've asked them to
You know,
make
this-
sure that they
this was-
include those. Yep.
That's it.
because I'd like to see something moved on Eisenhower Road. I really would. I mean, I think it's a,
It's still in the design phase right now, and there's some property acquisition that's getting ready.
Commissioner Plant, actually, in 2018, eminent domain proceedings and utility relocation will take place with the contemplation that the construction phase of the Eisenhower project would be completed in 2019. So these projects are moving apace. Now, 147th has encountered unexpected delays in some of the utility relocations. We're attempting to address that on McIntyre with respect to a liquidated damages clause, which has been forwarded to the utility company affected. So we're cognizant of certain things that have delayed each of these three projects as they proceed, and we're trying to avoid them as we encounter the next one. The county recently identified up to 30 road projects that it might be taking as secondary road projects under the sales tax project, and your revenue projections are healthy. So the county's moving on roads.
Okay.
Quite frankly, Commissioners, you may be running out of plans before you run out of funds to build those plans. So your Public Works Department is working on that to begin, as I think Commissioner Klemp, you identified them, have the plans on the shelves.
you use the term unknown delays. I'll guarantee you, on Eisenhower, there's going to be some unknown delays.
Well, the unknown unknowns are the problems, Commissioners.
That is the unknown, David.
Like just last week, there were some people looking to meet with Sarah, looking to, they own property out there. So Sarah's meeting with property owners down there. So
'Cause I know-
I think it's moving like where it's supposed to be.
Okay, because there's a plat, in, not the industrial park, but west of it, with 101 houses.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those 101 houses being there before the road's done. But, okay,
Well, and I don't know how the priority were established on the projects. Why we didn't start with Eisenhower, why we didn't start with Mac, I don't know. I don't think I was involved with
Why
that.
we didn't either, but we started with 147th, went to McIntyre, then Eisenhower.
Maybe they had design already
Right.
mostly complete on that one or something. I don't know, but
I don't either.
we didn't go in alphabetical order,
No.
so.
And the problem we're having with the water line out there on 147th makes me want to chip and seal it.
that's right.
Well, but in reality, 18 months to move utilities, I mean, that's just the way it is. So,
Okay,
especially when they're not in the right-of-way, not in public easement, they're in
Funny
private
thing.
easement.
the funny thing is, whenever somebody talks to you about a project, they say, well, let's get the dirt rolling in 60 days.
Can't do it.
Yeah, see? But they like to present that and get it done tomorrow.
It doesn't work that way.
Does not work that way, so.
When public utilities are allowed to be in the public right-of-way, you just don't tell them to move them. They've got a budget too they got to live within.
Kind of like level 3 out on 207th.
That's correct. And the bigger the utility, the,
I'm so glad to see 207th done.
Commissioners, could I have, was there a ribbon cutting on 207th Street?
hopefully we don't rebuild it one more time since as long as I'm here.
So there was no
I've got a
formal
call,
opening of it?
I've got a call from someone that wants, that I did return their call this morning on 207th, which is did.
To continue, or,
No, something else.
oh, boy.
Okay.
Well, I have, yes, I've been out there. I've went through it since it
I
was
haven't been
done.
through it yet.
I've been through it. Like I said, it just needs to continue on.
Yeah, it does.
Hook up to County Road 9. I don't know how we're gonna do that, though.
Nope, I don't either.
But
One last request. John, right at the top of that paper. The year of the taxpayer.
the year of the
Okay.
taxpayer. Oh, speaking of John, we had talked about Tuesday night, or Tuesday
Yep.
night meetings. And what time are we gonna start these meetings on Tuesday night?
I think it was 7.
Well, that's the same time John has to be at the city.
You know what? You want to talk about John?
Yes, sir, I do.
And I love John.
I think it's very important he's here.
It's important he's here, but I can watch tonight the things that I said and the things I didn't say. It's all right on this.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
John can watch that and probably come up with a better, because he can rerun it,
Oh,
We
nobody
were trying
gonna
to-
watch this twice.
We were trying to find a time,
Okay.
and Monday was not good because we wanted the staff to be able to
Prepare, that's correct.
prepare. Wednesday was not good, and I won't mention why. Tuesday is not good because KU plays. But
Once again, you can
I'm willing
rewatch
to
it.
sacrifice KU, watching the game, not to let them lose now. Friday is definitely not good. And there was some reason that Thursday wasn't, so Tuesday came out the best.
Okay.
And I apologize, John, but if you want to have a little pizza party and we can sit and watch it together and I can, but Tuesday was the best night that.
Okay. And we're gonna start that in December on, what's the first day?
I
It's
think
actually
that,
been happening in November. We've had 2 of them.
yeah, where we go to the,
Yeah.
yeah. I think what we had discussed was when we adopt the schedule for 2018, that we would make that official
Okay.
at that time. So in January, we'll start every fourth meeting, I guess, would be a night meeting.
Okay. All right. Okay, we have anything else for us?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Voting?
Aye.
All right.